This may look like an ordinary teapot, but inside hides a deadly mechanism dating all the way back to ancient China. When you pour your own drink, regular tea comes out, but when you pour your enemy's cup, poison comes out, all without anyone noticing. You look at each other, and both of you take a sip. A few moments later, only one of you is still alive. But how? In this video, we'll take a closer look at even more genius inventions from the past, all from this weird but surprisingly clever elephant clock to this wine-pouring robot from almost 2,400 years ago. But first, let's see the genius solution behind heated floors in the Roman Empire. The Romans came up with a lot of genius solutions, like the Roman vending machine, the automated doors, and even an early steam engine, which I explained in another video. But one of their most impressive and luxurious technologies was right here, found in Roman bathhouses. The Roman bathhouses were a central part of daily Roman life. This was a place to exercise, socialize, and relax for people of every social class. If you were entering a Roman bathhouse, the first thing you'd notice is the temperature of the floors. The baths actually had underfloor heating, a system known as a hypocaust. When they lit a fire in the furnace below the floor, the hot fumes would flow into a separate room filled with stone piers. The open space around the piers allowed hot air to rise and directly heat the floor of the bathhouse and the water in the pools, creating a comfortable and warm experience for the Romans. But that itself wouldn't be enough to heat the entire pool, so the furnace had multiple roles in the bathhouse. It would also heat up a water tank directly above the flames, which allowed boiling water to flow into the pool. But the heat underneath the floor created a problem. Without any ventilation, the fumes would be trapped inside the underfloor compartment. To solve this, the Romans created multiple clay pipes inside the walls. The pipes led the fumes and hot air up and out through the chimneys. This did not only solve the problem, but it also improved the bathhouse experience by heating the walls as well. The Romans had some incredible solutions, but long before the Roman Empire, someone made this automatic maid. We'll take a closer look at that later in the video. But first, let's see why this elephant clock was actually kinda genius. Before I show you that, just give me 30 seconds of your time and you can win $500. I've made this completely free, fun, daily game called History Time, where you try to place 15 historical events in the correct order on a timeline. Just drag and drop the card in the right place to gain a point. It might be easy in the beginning, but once the timeline starts to fill up, it gets really challenging. If you think you know the exact year, type it in for a chance to get 2 points. But if you're off by just 1 year, you lose a life. There's a brand new timeline every single day, and you can play it on your phone, tablet, or desktop. I really want to know what you think about the game. So if you leave a comment under this video with some feedback after trying the game, I'll choose one at random to win $500. Scan the QR code on your screen, click the link in the description, or go to historytime.io right now to play for free. Thank you so much. Now back to the video. You may have the same question as I had when I first started researching this. Why on earth would you have an elephant clock? And what does it do? Well, hidden inside the structure is a genius mechanism that, you guessed it, tells the time. And the man behind it is none other than Abu Ali's ibn Ismail ibn al-Razaz al-Jazari, better known as just al-Jazari, an Arab Muslim mechanical engineer who lived in the 13th century, with a lot of clever inventions to his name. The design of the clock told a story itself. It was made to honor multiple cultures from the region. The elephant itself was a wooden carving of an Indian elephant, covered by a Persian carpet. The tower above had 2 Chinese serpents, while an Egyptian phoenix was placed at the top. Around the structure was 3 Arab figures, but these were not only decorative. Each of these elements worked together to create a genius mechanism. Inside the elephant's body is a large water tank with a floating bowl. In the bowl is a small hole, letting water flow in at a controlled speed. As the bowl slowly fills up over half an hour, the connected wire turns the scribe sitting on top of the elephant, showing how many minutes have passed. After 30 minutes, when the bowl is completely filled, it sinks and triggers the even more impressive mechanism of the clock. At the top of the clock, a channel of balls was placed. One ball is released, falling onto a gear spinning the Egyptian phoenix on top of the structure. This moves a disc, revealing the number of hours since sunrise. From there, the ball drops into this pivot, making the ball fall into alternating sides. From there, it rolls into the mouth of the Chinese serpent, gradually tilting down and releasing the ball into a vase. This triggers the Arab figure to make this sound and tells the people nearby that half an hour has passed. While the serpent was tilting down, a connected wire pulled the bowl up to the surface again, resetting the system. Let's see the whole process sped up. If you're ever in Dubai, you can actually see a replica of the elephant clock at the Ibn Battuta shopping mall. The people who lived before us didn't only have clever ways to tell the time. They could also detect earthquakes 1900 years ago. But first, let's see how someone made a functioning robot in the year 300 BC. This device reminds me of Leonardo da Vinci's humanoid robot, but the automatic maid served people nearly 2,000 years before da Vinci's invention. When you place a cup in the hand of the maid, she automatically starts pouring wine. And if you want the wine a little less strong, it switches over to pour water into your cup, all by itself. When your cup is full, it stops, and you can enjoy your drink. But how did a robot exist almost 2,400 years ago? The man behind the invention is Philo of Byzantium, a Greek engineer who lived in the 3rd century BC. He created what might have been the first robot in history. So, how did it work? Inside the maid's chest were 2 containers, one filled with wine and the other with water. When the cup is placed in her hand, it pulls a spring inside the maid. A custom airlock slowly aligns with a pipe, allowing air into the wine container. When air comes in, it pushes the wine out through a tube along her arm and into the cup. When the cup gets heavier, it continues to pull on the spring. It now aligns the second airlock, pushing air into the water container. At the same time, the airflow of the wine container is closed. When the cup is heavy enough, the air is cut off in both containers. This stops the flow of liquid, and when you lift off your cup, the spring pulls back the maid's hand, resetting the system. The maid is now ready to serve the next guest. Unlike today, the automatic maid wasn't built to save labor costs or replace servants. This was an engineering masterpiece, likely used to showcase the region's technological power. Some stories also claim the robot could walk, just like you see in this reconstruction from Heracleidon Museum. 400 years later, on the other side of the world, a unique invention was created at the order of the Chinese emperor. The year is 132 AD. In ancient China, earthquakes are seen as a religious warning, a sign that the emperor has lost the favor of the gods. To protect his reputation, the emperor orders one of China's greatest inventors to build a machine that can detect the smallest of earthquakes. The original design has been lost to history, but using historical descriptions, I reconstructed it in 3D. This is the world's first earthquake detector. The machine is described as a large bronze jar. 8 dragon heads are placed around the outside, each one representing a direction on the compass. Inside each dragon's mouth is a bronze ball, and beneath sits a frog with its mouth open. When an earthquake was detected, the internal mechanism reacted. Whichever dragon faced the direction of the vibrations would open its mouth, releasing the bronze ball. That ball dropped into the frog's mouth below, creating a clear sound. But how did it work? Inside the device, experts believe a pendulum hung from the top of the jar. Beneath it was a small ball that touched both the pendulum and a small pin. When an earthquake shakes the ground, the vibration would cause the pendulum to swing slightly, causing the ball to lean to one side. The ball would then lose contact with the pendulum and the pin and roll down a small track. At the end of the track, the ball would hit a lever connected to the dragon's mouth, causing the bronze ball inside to drop. The frog would catch the ball, showing the guards which direction the earthquake had come from. But did it really work? In 2005, Chinese researchers recreated Zhang Heng's seismograph. They tested it using both normal vibrations and vibrations that mimicked earthquakes. It worked. The reconstruction did not react to normal vibrations, but it did, however, react to the artificial earthquakes. This is truly impressive, considering that modern seismographs would not appear until the 19th century. Now, for the next invention, let's stay in China and take a closer look at the Assassin's Teapot. We're back in the Ming dynasty. The year is around 1500 AD, and your rival is lying on the floor. Despite pouring from the same teapot, you've managed to pour tea for yourself, but poison to him. But how is that even possible? Inside the Assassin's Teapot, we find 2 chambers. You have filled one of them with tea and the other with poison. For the liquid to flow out, you also need a second hole for air to come in. Just like when you put a straw in your drink, you can cover the end with your thumb and pull the straw up without the liquid pouring out. And that's the secret to the Assassin's teapot. Both the chambers have an extra hole each, one at the top and one at the bottom of the handle. When you cover both holes, nothing comes out. But when you only cover the top hole, only the poison pours out. When you switch and only cover the bottom hole, only your tea flows out. And if you don't cover any of the holes, both liquids will mix. With this system, it's very important to not put your finger in the wrong hole. That could end catastrophically. To further explain how the teapot works, another YouTuber named Steve Mould 3D printed a 2D version to show how it really works. I recommend you go and watch that video if you haven't seen it already. The Assassin's teapot is dated to around 1500 AD in China, but it's uncertain if it was ever used by assassins or if it was rather used for illusions and magic tricks. Which is your favourite invention? And which inventions did we forget? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, you'll love my video about the advanced tech of the Roman Empire. If you've seen that already, the other one on screen should be perfect for you.